As we learned in the beef lesson, knowing where on the animal the cut comes from makes all the difference in choosing the cooking method and making it taste delicious. So today we're gonna look at the pork diagram, help you identify exactly where each cut comes from, make sure there's no more guesswork, and every time you pick up a piece of chicken or pork, you know exactly what to do. Okay, let's go over the pork map before we get started on the cuts. Pork is divided into primals. We have the leg, the loin, and the butt, which confusingly is actually the shoulder. And then we have the picnic ham, the spare rib, and the belly. Okay, let's take a look at some of the most popular cuts. First, we have belly bacon. Now, bacon refers to the curing and smoking process, but belly bacon has become so prevalent that we just call it all bacon. Next, we have the leg. The leg is often smoked and turned into hams, but it's also where the good grind comes from, and that grind often becomes sausage. So first we see plain old ground pork, but let me tell you, if you are buying the right pigs, the flavor is so good. Next we have breakfast sausage. In this case, a simple mix of salt, pepper, and fresh sage, although breakfast sausages often have a sweet element like maple. Then we have Italian sausage. Now this is a free form, not in a link, and it's generally characterized by flavors like garlic, fennel, and various Italian herbs, although really the varieties are endless. Moving to the loin, first we have the pork sirloin roast. This comes from the tail end of the loin. There's plenty of flavor, lots of texture. It's a great choice for roasting and braising. Next we have the pork tenderloin. Mild flavor, ultra tender, loves a good marinade or rub. Below we see the pork loin. Lean, tender, quick cooking. It does have a tendency to dry out, so a brine or some additional fat goes a long way. From the loin we have three versions of chops. We have the boneless chop, a bone-in chop, and then of course the double thick bone-in chop. Now chops tend to be lean as well, but the addition of a bone adds some nice elements to the eating experience. The boneless country ribs are cut from the end of the sirloin with a little bit of rib meat. Unlike the other pork ribs, they cook extremely quickly. They tend to have a bit more moisture than the loin and are great with a sticky sauce. And of course the baby back ribs, everyone's favorite. These are fairly lean, they have lots of connective tissue, so low and slow cooking with plenty of moisture is the trick for that fall off the bone experience. The last piece of the loin here is pork stir fry, usually cut from trim from the loin roast. It cooks quickly, it absorbs flavor nicely, and it's lean and healthy. The oddly named pork butt, also known as pork shoulder or Boston butt, supposedly named for the barrels they were stored in by early New England butchers, is the cut behind every good pulled pork. Rich, fatty, and super flavorful, low and slow with a good rub and some spice is the way to nail it every time. These are phenomenal smoked. Next we have a pork brisket. This is a rare cut, usually ground up, but if you can find one whole, it's exceptional. Traditionally braised in milk and lemon, it becomes fall apart tender and delicious. And finally, the St. Louis ribs from the spare rib primal. Bigger, meatier, fattier than the baby back ribs. This is what award-winning barbecue is made from. Lots of low and slow smoke. As we saw, identifying where on the animal the cut comes from decides the cooking method for you. We see well-used muscles use time, moisture, and temperature to make a big difference. Lesser used muscles, they cook quickly and easily. Hopefully this means no more guesswork for you. See you in the next lesson.